Welcome to the deep dive. You know we love to dig into the research you send us, and this time it's all about how tech is shaking up the legal world.
Yeah, think legal tech and see where your mind goes.
Right, like suits and algorithms.
Exactly. So this legal tech research guide, it's pretty fascinating. We're talking a huge shift, like from those classic dusty law
Oh
books
yeah, like the ones you see in like all the legal movies.
to like super advanced software, and it's happening now.
No kidding. And the guide, it actually mentions some law firms, in the real world that are already seeing the results,
Oh,
like
right.
time-saving results, big time.
Big time.
They mention Fredrickson and Byron. I think I'm saying that right.
Hmm.
They've cut down the time it takes to review contracts like by almost half
Wow.
just by using AI.
That's a thing, right?
Yeah.
AI, it's like changing the game entirely.
So, are we talking about like asking an AI system, hey, what about those intellectual property rights, but like in virtual reality?
You're getting it.
And then, bam, it spits out like a perfect answer.
Pretty much. That's like the power of natural language processing, or NLP, at work. Basically, it's how AI can understand and analyze, like, human language.
No more weeks in the library then, huh?
Well, not so fast. You still need, like, the human legal expertise.
Yeah.
But AI tools, they're revolutionizing how you do that research. They can go through mountains of legal documents, pinpoint those crucial clauses,
Oh,
and even spot, like, patterns that could predict case outcomes.
wait, predict case outcomes. How?
So AI, it looks at tons of past cases, tons of legal precedents, and it identifies patterns. Like, it's a super-powered research assistant.
So it's not about AI replacing lawyers.
No, no.
It's like giving them this crazy tool to be better.
Exactly. Stronger arguments, better decisions.
Mhm.
It's like an extra brain in the courtroom, really.
Okay, so research is changing, but the guide, it mentions other things too, like how tech is changing, like how lawyers even talk to each other, to clients.
For sure. Email, obviously. But video calls, instant messaging, those are all, like, standard now.
Yeah, gotta be quick these days. Clients expect it.
Exactly. And that speed, it's also part of why remote work is on the rise. More flexibility for lawyers, that's the big appeal.
No more stuffy office. But hold on, what about this e-discovery thing? The guide, it makes it sound like a big deal. But, I'm not really getting what it is.
Okay, imagine a huge corporate lawsuit. Right. But instead of boxes and boxes of contracts,
Yeah.
you've got millions of emails,
Yeah.
texts, social media posts, things in the cloud. It's a digital mess.
Yikes.
And discovery platforms, they're built to handle that. All that electronic data, like they use AI to sort through it all.
So it's like a digital detective on your side.
You got it. Platforms like Relativity One, they can analyze that data incredibly fast, super accurate, help lawyers build their cases way more efficiently.
That's wild. But okay, I'm curious, are there any like real world examples of this stuff in action?
Oh, tons. The guide mentions a bunch. Remember Fredrickson and Byron? The ones cutting down their contract time?
Yeah.
They're using AI software, analyzes contracts, flags any potential problems.
So they're like actually doing it, getting real results.
Oh, yeah. And then there's Salazar Law.
Yeah.
They're using AI for, like, hardcore legal research. And because of it, they're responding to the other side way faster.
Like a secret weapon.
Totally.
So is it mostly law firms using this stuff?
It's getting big there, but legal departments, inside companies, they're catching on too. PNC Bank, for example, they used AI to streamline, like reviewing legal bills. Helps them stay compliant, manage costs,
It's like taking all the Silicon Valley efficiency and
and bringing it to law. Exactly.
that's awesome.
Oh, and L'Oreal in Australia and New Zealand, they're using automation for their contracts too. Frees up their legal team to focus on, like, the big picture stuff.
Not just paperwork.
No way. So it's not about replacing lawyers, it's about letting them work smarter.
Right, not harder.
That's the key. Tech changing the legal landscape, making things faster, more accurate, better for clients.
It's pretty wild to think about, honestly. Being a lawyer now is so different from like 10 years ago.
It really is.
But okay, with all this amazing tech, are there like downsides? It can't all be good, right?
Well, any big change, there's going to be bumps. A big one. People resisting change. Lots of lawyers that are used to the old ways might not be thrilled about new tech.
It's hard to break old habits, especially in a job that's been around like forever.
So true. And then there's, like, the job security worries.
Yeah,
Some people, they're scared tech will just replace lawyers entirely.
I get that. Seeing what AI can do, it makes you wonder, right?
It's natural to ask those questions.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Technology, it's a tool. It's not supposed to replace human judgment or experience, just enhance it.
So it's about like finding that balance, human and machine.
Exactly. Using tech to make what we do better, not to get rid of us altogether.
Makes sense. But are there any other like drawbacks? What about the cost of all this?
Yeah, good point. Getting all these legal tech solutions set up, it can cost a lot up front.
Especially for like the smaller firms.
Right. Can be a barrier.
Mm.
But a lot of times the benefits down the road, they outweigh those costs.
So it's a gamble, but with a big payoff.
In a way, yeah. It's a calculated risk, though. Law is changing fast. And the ones using tech, they're going to be set up for success.
Feels like law is on the edge of a tech revolution.
It totally is.
Yeah.
And it's pretty exciting to be part of it.
This has been amazing. Really insightful stuff. But okay, we've covered a lot. Maybe let's take a quick break, process all this.
Sounds good. We'll be right back with more deep dive insights.
Back again for more deep dive. We've been talking all about the cool tech, changing the legal world, AI, digital detectives for data. It's pretty wild.
It is. It's like everything's moving so fast.
Yeah, for sure. But it makes me think, with all this new tech, is there anything we need to, like, be careful about?
Oh, absolutely. There are definitely things to be cautious about.
Yeah.
Like a big one is making sure we're using this technology responsibly. Like, think about data security, right?
Yeah.
Lawyers, we have a duty to protect client information. And in the digital age, that's even more important.
So it's not enough to just use the latest tech. You got to use it safely, too.
Right. When lawyers are adopting new tools, they need to be certain those tools meet the highest security standards. And it's not just about the software itself. It's the whole process. How is data collected, stored, shared? It all has to be secure and comply with all those privacy regulations.
So it's like a doctor using sterilized instruments. You got to have the right tools and use them the right way.
Exactly. Great analogy. And it's not just about protecting data from, like, hackers or data breaches. It's about using technology in a way that respects client confidentiality, professional boundaries, all of that.
Oh, that's a good point. Especially now with the rise of remote work, right? Like, yeah, lawyers can work from anywhere, but that also opens up new challenges.
Yeah, you're right. Working from home or different locations, it can blur those lines between personal and professional life.
Yeah.
So lawyers need to be extra careful about data security when they're working remotely, establish clear guidelines for communication. It's all about making sure that confidentiality is protected.
So it's about taking the ethics we've always had and making sure they work in a digital remote world.
That's it. It's about education, training, and making sure legal professionals are aware of how to use technology responsibly and ethically.
Okay, that makes sense. This leads to another thing that's been on my mind. The future of legal tech. This research guide mentions some pretty futuristic trends, right?
Yeah, it's almost like we're entering a whole new era. And one trend I find fascinating is the rise of generative AI.
Generative AI. That sounds like straight out of a sci-fi movie.
I know, right? But it's becoming a reality. Basically, generative AI can create new content, like drafting legal documents or summarizing complex legal arguments.
Yeah, you're saying like AI can write legal briefs now.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible.
It sounds almost too good to be true.
It's a really powerful capability, and it's advancing so rapidly, but it also raises some important questions, like who's responsible for the content that AI generates? What if there are, like, errors or stuff is missing?
Oh, that's a good point. It's like having like a ghostwriter for your legal documents almost.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's so important to figure out clear guidelines and oversight for using generative AI in law. Make sure it's used responsibly and ethically.
So again, it comes back to not just the tech itself, but the human decisions behind it.
100%. Technology should be a tool to support and enhance what we do, not replace us.
I like that. Okay, but this makes me wonder about access to justice. Like, if AI can make legal documents more efficiently, could that make legal help cheaper and more accessible for people who can't afford, like, fancy lawyers?
That's a big question, and a lot of people are debating it right now.
Yeah.
There's definitely potential for tech to make things more fair and make legal services more accessible. But there are also some worries about potential downsides, too.
Like what?
Well, what if people rely too much on AI-generated legal documents? But without proper legal advice,
Oh, yeah.
they might miss important details, make mistakes that could actually hurt their case.
Right.
So it's key to remember, technology should be working with human lawyers, not replacing them entirely.
Got it. So again, finding that balance, using tech to make legal services more efficient and accessible, But also making sure people can still get a qualified human lawyer when they need one.
Exactly. It's all about ensuring that technology is used for good, you know, to promote justice and fairness, not just speed and efficiency.
This whole conversation's been really eye-opening. The legal world, it really feels like it's about to go through a major transformation, doesn't it?
It really does.
Exciting, but kind of daunting, too, all these possibilities and challenges ahead.
It's true. It's a fascinating time to be in law, though, for sure. We're seeing this huge convergence of law and technology that could completely reshape how justice is delivered and accessed.
Wow. But even as we're embracing this tech revolution, we gotta do it carefully and ethically, right?
Absolutely. We need to ask the hard questions, challenge what we think we know, and be ready to adapt, because the legal world is changing really fast.
This research guide has given us a lot to think about, that's for sure. So, besides what we've talked about already, are there any other key trends that you're seeing, things that could shape the future of legal tech?
Well, there are a few. Aside from generative AI, another big one is the use of blockchain technology in law.
Blockchain, isn't that like the thing behind Bitcoin and all those cryptocurrencies? What does that have to do with law?
Yeah, you're right. Blockchain is famous for its use in cryptocurrencies, but it can actually do so much more than that.
Oh, okay.
Basically, blockchain is a secure and transparent way to record and verify transactions. And that's perfect for legal stuff, where trust and the ability to prove something happened are super important.
Interesting. Okay, so give me some examples. How would you use blockchain in law?
Sure, one area that's getting a lot of attention is smart contracts. These are contracts that basically enforce themselves automatically, when certain conditions are met.
Wait, so a contract can just enforce itself, like no lawyers needed if something goes wrong?
That's the general idea, yeah.
Yeah.
Smart contracts can make things way more streamlined, reduce the chances of disputes, and even cut out the need for a middleman in some cases.
Sounds super efficient. But what about, like, the legal side of things? If a contract is enforcing itself, what happens if there's, like, a glitch in the code or something totally unexpected happens?
That's a valid concern. Smart contracts are still pretty new. There are definitely some legal and technical kinks to work out, but the potential benefits are huge.
Yeah, I can see that.
And lots of experts believe blockchain-based contracts are going to be a big part of how we do legal transactions in the future.
It's like futuristic, Contracts that enforce themselves, AI writing legal briefs. The future of law is going to be wild.
It really is.
Yeah.
But it's important to remember that the fundamental principles of law, they're still the same. Justice, fairness, due process, those are the values that should guide everything we do as we explore all these new possibilities.
I love that. It's not about the tech taking over. It's about using the tech to uphold what's important.
You got it. And that means having these conversations, thinking about the ethics, and being ready to adapt because the legal landscape is changing fast.
This deep dive has been so insightful. It's given me a totally new view of where the legal profession's heading.
I'm glad. It's definitely an exciting time to be a part of it.
But before we move on, there's one more trend I wanted to ask about. It's mentioned in the guide. It's called online dispute resolution, or ODR.
Oh, yeah.
What exactly is that, and how does it fit in with all this other legal tech stuff we've been talking about?
So ODR is basically using technology to resolve disputes outside of the traditional courtroom.
Ah. Well,
That could be anything from like online mediation platforms to AI-powered systems that help people reach agreements.
so like taking the courtroom online?
Kind of, yeah. It can be a much more efficient and accessible alternative to going to court, especially for smaller disputes or cases that involve people in different countries. It can also be less confrontational, and more focused on finding solutions that work for everyone involved.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, going to court can be super stressful and time-consuming and expensive.
It can be, yeah. ODR is designed to be more streamlined and user-friendly, and as technology gets even better, we can expect even more sophisticated ODR platforms in the future.
It sounds like ODR could really change the game when it comes to access to justice, especially for people who maybe can't afford a lawyer or who don't know how to deal with the traditional court system.
Exactly. ODR has the power to make justice more accessible to everyone and to empower people to resolve their disputes fairly and efficiently.
This is incredible, honestly. It feels like every part of law is being touched by technology in some way.
It's true. It's a real paradigm shift, and we're only at the beginning. There's so much more potential to explore.
I can't wait to see what happens next. This deep dive has given us so much to think about. It's clear the legal world is changing in huge ways, both exciting and a bit scary to imagine what the future holds.
It is, but it's a journey full of possibilities. As we continue to see how law and technology come together, we need to keep our focus on innovation, ethics, and using technology to create a legal system that's fair and just for everyone.
Okay, so this deep dive has really taken us like deep into the legal tech world.
We've covered a lot. AI, writing briefs, self-enforcing contracts. It's wild.
It really is. It makes you think tech isn't just changing like little tasks here and there, it's changing the whole legal system.
Yeah, for sure. It's a fundamental shift.
It's like, I don't know, going from horse and buggy to a self-driving car. Like, transportation's the same, but the tech changes everything about it.
That's a perfect analogy.
Yeah.
And like with any powerful technology, there are amazing upsides, but also challenges we got to be aware of.
Okay.
We need to be excited about legal tech, but also, approach it carefully.
Totally. We've talked about the downsides, like data security, potential job losses. But what about, like, what excites you about the future of this stuff?
For me, it's the possibility of making the legal system truly accessible for everyone.
Yeah.
Imagine, getting basic legal help online easily, resolving disputes quickly, fairly, all through online platforms.
That would be huge for people who can't afford lawyers or who find the whole court system, like, too intimidating.
Exactly. Technology could level the playing field, help people understand and use their legal rights.
I'm also really into the whole smart contracts thing. It sounds like sci-fi, but the idea of less hassle, fewer disputes, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, smart contracts are definitely worth watching. And the tech behind them, blockchain, that has the potential to change so much more than just contracts.
It's crazy to think how different things could be in a few years. But like we've been saying all along, it's not just about the tech itself, it's how we use it.
Absolutely. We need to be talking about the ethical side of all this, make sure these tools are used responsibly, and that they're actually helping to create a more just legal system.
That brings me back to something you said earlier about how even with all this amazing tech, human lawyers are still crucial.
That's right. Technology can do a lot, automate stuff, give us insights, but it can't replace the judgment, the creativity, the empathy of a human lawyer.
It's like, I don't know, a computer playing chess versus a grandmaster. The computer can calculate a zillion moves, but the grandmaster brings intuition, strategy, that deep understanding.
Exactly. The best legal professionals will be the ones who can use technology effectively while still having those core human skills that are essential for navigating the legal world.
So for someone just starting out in law today, what would you tell them? What skills do they need to, like, thrive in this new tech-driven world?
Well, first and foremost, you still got to have a rock-solid understanding of legal principles. Technology can't replace that. But beyond that, you got to be adaptable, tech-savvy, willing to learn new ways of thinking and working.
It's almost like you have to be a lifelong learner, always curious, ready to adapt to whatever's next.
Totally. Law is always changing, and the people who are going to succeed are the ones who can keep learning, keep growing, and embrace all this change.
This whole deep dive has been incredible. AI-powered research, blockchain contracts, online dispute resolution. We've learned about so much. It's clear that the legal world is transforming in a huge way.
It's been great talking about all this with you. The legal tech revolution is full of potential, and I can't wait to see what the future holds.
And to everyone listening, thanks for joining us on this journey. We hope this deep dive has helped you understand how technology is changing law and what it all means for the future of justice.
And remember, this is just the beginning. The world of legal tech is constantly evolving, so stay curious, stay informed, and keep exploring all the possibilities.
Until next time, folks, we'll see you on our next deep dive.